You're streamlining your systems so that you don't have to be involved in every little decision that's made all day long. At first it was cool because you're the CEO. You show up, you're fixing all the problems, but it's draining when you do it every single day. So let's start thinking different. Let's start putting on the CEO hat. The profit method is absolutely the way for you to start considering your people and your processes a part of your profit engine for your business. That might sound hokey, like some fancy business speak, but literally the way you've done it all the time isn't working. So you have to consider something different. My way says define your people and their roles, give them clear instructions on what they're supposed to do, define the process that they're going to go through, and that equals your profit, because you're going to have your profit in mind when you're defining the roles and defining the process. You're streamlining your systems so that you don't have to be involved in every little decision that's made all day long. At first it was cool because you're the CEO. You show up, you're fixing all the problems, you're finding the mistakes, you're getting stuff done, but it's draining when you do it every single day. Being a firefighter is not what you signed up for. You were supposed to be in a CEO seat. So let's start thinking different. Let's start putting on the CEO hat in your business versus all the other hats that you're wearing. And let's figure out a new way to approach your people and approach your systems so that you have better results and more profit, more money in the bank at the end of the day. I have several friends in the construction and home service businesses, and I found a ton of similarities between the way those companies are structured and the way that my bakery was structured. For lots of years, 13 plus, I ran a bakery and it had delivery service. I was doing weddings and parties, which meant I had to put things together on site. We had the office. In the office, there was layers of employees, bakers, decorators, admin. And then you still had the team kind of in the background helping to orchestrate and run everything. So I had layers of people putting this system and getting me to my end result. And that's what I see when I look at a lot of the construction companies and home services is nothing is ever the easy, quick, cookie cutter solution. None of those things will work for you because your company is so layered and there's so many moving parts. The other thing that I saw as a correlation is the fact that a lot of construction and home service companies are started by family and friends. You have someone super talented, they can do something that is amazing, and they turn that into a business. So one, we're talking to entrepreneurs who didn't study business, they didn't design this amazing business plan and then go out and launch it perfectly into the world. They literally use their skills, their passions, their desire to create beautiful things for people and turn that into a business. And the people who stuck with them the longest were people that they already knew, family and friends. In my bakery, same thing was true. My husband and I started that company. It was actually my daughter's idea that we brought to light. And my mother-in-law is already in food service, so I was able to use her kitchen. Like, there was so much family cohesion there. So what used to irritate the mess out of me is if someone came into my business, saw the chaos, and then just decided to give me some cookie cutter solution like, oh, here's what you should do. Just restructure, just throw away your old staff, just do this. It's like, nobody has time for that. I don't have time to get rid of people who have been loyal, who have been through a lot of things. I always felt like those people had a lot of institutional knowledge. Like, they understand why we do things the way we do it now because they've been with me from the beginning. And those relationships were valuable. I'm not going to throw out and dismiss people who have been loyal to me for so long, especially if they're my family members. customers, right? So I think a lot of construction and home service businesses are misunderstood in that way because people want you to just fit into a box. And literally, just by definition of how your business is run, you don't fit into any one box. You're not an on-site only company. You're not just brick and mortar systems. Like, you have so many different things going on, not to mention all the equipment and materials and storage. And I mean, just it's endless. And people don't take those things into account when they approach you with, here's my thing, here's my solution. They don't understand the complexity of dealing with layers of systems, layers of people, and then layers of the relationships behind those people. So what do you do in those cases? It's never just cut and dry. So that's why I decided to really niche down and help and literally go all in on construction and home services, because I saw similarities and the same struggles that I went through early in business running that bakery. And any of those pieces, I can literally go all in on family relationships and how to manage those, dealing with staff that you've had since the beginning, but they don't necessarily fit anymore. What do you do with them, right? There's so many subtopics here, but the biggest thing that I care the most about are CEOs who don't get to be CEOs, right? We are stuck micromanaging, even though everyone hates that word, right? We're stuck babysitting, we're stuck overseeing every project, we're stuck doing so much to make this business successful, and it eats away at every other aspect of our life. I am a person that it was very hard for me to admit because I owned a bakery. So where was I every single day? In the bakery. I also had mall locations. So the mall was open every day. My bakery had to be open every day. And I showed up every day. So if I'm showing up every single day there, where else can I be? Nowhere. I literally used to just crave a day off. If I got sick, I literally couldn't afford to get sick. I had a remedy on going into the local drugstore and getting all these homeopathic things, because that's the only thing you can take back to back, right? You can't take all those over-the-counter meds back to back. But I had this formula of here's what I need to do. It's literally, I need to knock this thing out overnight because I can't be missing tomorrow. I have a wedding, I have this. People aren't going to change their wedding date because I don't feel well. How stressful is that? How stressful is it that I can't even have a sick day? How crazy is it that my son is playing football and I'm a through and through football mom, right? So it broke my heart every time I could not be there, because when I picked him up or when I saw him later that day at home, he was happy to tell me all the stuff he did and I didn't see it. I couldn't be there. Literally, my customers ran my business. They called, they wanted stuff, everything was custom. So there was no cookie cutter way for me to exit, for me to enjoy my life. And that's exactly why I started my business. I wanted the business because I wanted to make more money so that I could afford this certain lifestyle with my family. Instead, I was stuck in a bakery every single day doing the work and not being there with my family. Could they afford to be in football and private school and all the things? Yes. So I was happy for that, but I wasn't present. And even when I could get a day off or go to a family event, I was so exhausted that I wasn't fully with them. I just wish I was sleeping. And it sounds terrible, but I was so tired all the time. Not to mention the toll it was taking on my health that is literally taking me years to clean up. Cortisol levels high, just stressed out. And you don't realize it because you think, I can handle this, I'm getting it done, I've been doing this for years, this is what I do day in and day out. And so you are used to it, but it doesn't mean that you should be doing this. So the thing that I had to do was get over myself. That was the first piece. And stop pretending that my business needed me as much as I put on that it did. I had to put in management. I had to get my people to do the things that I could do, because there was no other way for me to have a life and have a business if everything fell back on me. So that was the first thing I did, is invest in what does it take to create managers in my business and leaders in my business and people who run departments. Like, what does that take? And the reality is, when I started this journey, I sucked at managing everything, because I would tell them what to do. I would explain why it was important. And then I expected that they just could do it. I had no idea about training people at that time. I had no idea about systemizing processes, like all that business talk. I got into baking cakes, okay? I don't have a business degree. So none of that made sense to me at the time. I just wanted you to do the thing because I told you it was important, and I wanted them to just like go all in like I did. And that never happened. So now I have managers that I'm paying more money to, and I'm still babysitting. I'm just babysitting a little less because you get a little more, but I'm babysitting still. But I feel a little better, because if I had a headache that morning, the managers could probably take over for the morning. But I still showed up pretty much every day. And it wasn't until I definitely had to do a lot of personal development, business development, just mentally to get to a new place. But ultimately, what I realized is I was just holding everything because I was too afraid of someone else making a mistake and literally like making my name look bad, right? That company name is my name. And I literally said that to my staff. I was like, that's my name on this building. I said that. As awful as it sounds, right? But what I learned is I can teach them how to lead, how to manage, how to run this business if I would define it for them. If I took the time to do that work to define what it is that they're responsible for and walk through that process. The second part that could not be ignored is the process, right? Early in the business, when you can imagine with a cake, right? You would bake the cake, decorate the cake, and I'm skipping tons of steps because there had to be ordering and stuff coming in, and you gotta do all that first. And then you get the process of baking, and then you get the actual order out and decorate the cake to the client's specificity, and then it has to be delivered. So step, 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 step. And I used to do it all. So then when I hired you to just bake and you to just do this other thing, I expect so much more productivity, because why can't you do 10 times more than what I can do? I was doing the whole process. You're not. But I had to understand that defining the roles meant that I was also saying, here is how I want my company to run. Here is the streamline, making things smooth, the process. And it didn't take a lot of work. It just took me thinking through like what was required at each step. And when I was able to say what was required versus just saying, it's important that you do this properly. If I can define for my staff what I needed them to do, how things were done, and help them think through how to do that, but in a clear and concise way. Oh my gosh, after I kind of took that approach, my life changed. Now, I'll be honest, running the bakery was tough for me most of the time because I was controlling it. But toward the end, because I did choose to do something else after, toward the end, I embraced empowering my managers, defining the systems, and taking the time to do that, because I realized it's a time trade-off. I can either babysit every process, or I can take the time to create the systems that they will use so they can do these things on their own. So I chose to do it differently because I already had years of doing it the other way, and I was just stressed out and missing out on everything in my life. So I tried it a different way, and who knew? It worked. And it seems so simple now, but I understand the frustration. I understand the challenges that you have when this business is your baby and it has so many layers and it has so many complexities, and nobody is listening to you and understanding that you can't just anything, right? You can't just tell this person to handle that project and you go, like, it's not that simple. But on the flip side, it is, if you take the time and do things and approach it differently. So that was the lesson that I learned. And that's why I care to help people, one, step into their role as a CEO and understand that it's your responsibility to organize your business. That literally is your role. Your role is not stepping into every project, knowing every single thing every employee is doing, managing all the day-to-day tasks. That's not your role. If you stepped into the CEO role and managed the way that you were supposed to, everything would shift in your company. That's why I care about CEOs of construction and home service businesses. How to better manage their people, how to better manage their processes. Now, I've already gone through that. I've already done the hard work, cried the tears, missed out on sporting events, done all those things, right? So now I have systemized that where literally I can help someone else and it takes you a fraction of the time. Literally, I have this down to like a few hours of different process. So you relying on someone else to help you is your first step of getting the freedom that you wanted in the first place when you started the business. Of course, you knew it was going to take hard work, but how long are you going to justify trading hard work for your freedom? How long, how many years? Like the average is like the first 2 to 3 years of any business is going to be very labor intensive for all involved. We get that. But now you're at a point where it's like, this is a cycle that's not ending. I told you guys I was doing this for over 13 years. A good 10 of them was lived in that chaos. And I really wish that I could go back in time and do it different. I really wish that in year 2, after I understood what I wanted and the clients that I wanted to serve and understood my demographic a ton better, that I spent the time to really systemize my business, but I didn't. I was too afraid that something was going to fall apart if I handed it off to someone else. So I'm challenging you to do it differently. Don't wait until year 10, year 13, where you're literally just like at your wits end, marriage in the dumps. Kids are used to you not showing up for them. Family is like so surprised. Like I was showing for events and they're like, oh, you came. I came. So like, why are you? Now they want to ask me 80,000 questions because they can't even believe I'm there. Like, I don't want that for you. And I have taken the time to learn how to not be there. So everything that I've started since then, I always focus on people and process first. Like that is a no-brainer. I'm definitely not ever starting a business again that is going to rely on me forever to do everything. I can't afford to. We're getting older. I just don't have time. And I'm not going to invest my time and money into a business that literally is going to drain the rest of my life. I started with saying that I love to travel, to explore different cuisines, like to do all that stuff that in my opinion is fun. But I couldn't do it because if you're stuck in a bakery, if you're stuck running your business, then you can't leave. I could barely take a sick day. So talking about taking a vacation, are you serious? I definitely didn't have time for that. But those are things that I deeply desired, deeply wanted. So now I start companies, I focus on the people, I focus on the process, and I travel. I can run my business from anywhere. I can talk to my employees. They know what to do. Nobody's dependent on me for everyday input. And I'm not saying that you are just going to start traveling the world next week, but you can absolutely take a day, go to your child's game, show up for family dinners, show up for holidays. Like there's tons of things between here and a week on a cruise ship. So the reason why I care is because I understand the complexity. I understand that the cookie cutter things didn't work. I understand all the things that are suffering in your life when you don't do this. And I also understand that just telling you to do it never changes anything. So I created a full service solution so that you just dive in, it takes a few days, and you're literally on a much better path. That's what I want for you. I don't want you doing this and discovering this in year 10 or 13 or 15 of your business, and literally your physical self is in such a declined state that you're like in a state of desperation. Imagine doing that when your business is still younger or wherever you are at this point, but just doing it now versus 5 or 6 years later, and all the benefit that has: one, for your business to grow up; two, for you to make a lot more money; but three, for you to be present in your own life, the whole reason you decided to be a CEO in the first place.